See. Okay. All right. And again, thank you everybody for joining me today. So my name is Kayla Wilcox, not to be confused with Kayla Cooney, who is the manager for PHCC. I know that can get a little bit confusing, and I've often got emails or phone calls for Kayla, the other one. But I am actually your quality assurance evaluator. So I also wear the hat of quality assurance supervisor. So just a little, and I'll go into more detail about that in just a second, but just a little about me. I've worked at UAB in scheduling, in primary care, and in the quality department for a total of about 9 years. Before UAB, I did work in a clinic that was physician supervised for 3 years. So I do have a medical background, but my degree is not a medical degree. It's in Christian ministries. I have been married for 15 years, and we have 2 sons, Ronan, who's 8, and Rhett, who's 2, and we're about to have a baby girl, and we're super excited. And so she's going to be named Piper Arabella. My maiden name is Piper, so that's why we decided to go with that. And we're due in May. So I'm rounding out this 3rd trimester here, and we're just super excited. And we live in Pell City. I was just telling Lauren, we live in Pell City. We live on Logan Martin Lake and just really enjoy everything lake life. We regularly boat, jet ski, all that good stuff. So we're hoping to add kayaking soon. But we'll see after this new baby comes. So I've been with the quality team for 8 years. It was just 3 of us when we started, as a training specialist and quality assurance specialist, and now as quality assurance supervisor. I've witnessed our team really grow from 3 to presently 21 plus, as we've added specialties to the access center and evolved to cover other pieces of the call center. And before quality, like I said, I was in primary care scheduling. So I actually handle your Calabrio call evaluations for PHCC, which is a total of, y'all got a huge number of nurses over there, like 80 or so nurses, and patient experience staff. And that's divided up over numerous specialties. Y'all have probably heard about all the specialties that are over there, like derm, EMED, RPM, endocrinology, endoscopy, GI, so on and so forth. But to give you a better understanding of what I do, when you call a customer or patient-centered organization like your insurance, whether it be Blue Cross Blue Shield or Viva, or your telephone carrier, maybe like Verizon, you might hear this call may be recorded for quality assurance and training purposes. And I'm the one who is listening, viewing, and evaluating those calls. So they do get evaluated and they do get listened to. And just as an FYI for you, your calls are recorded both visually on your monitors and on your work phone, so your leadership and myself can see and hear everything. So that's just an FYI. Now I want to talk about the evaluation process. Well, first of all, let me pause and just ask if y'all have any questions about that first part.
I don't.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about the evaluation process. So the evaluation process takes place in 3 steps. So first, the quality assurance evaluator, which is me, will randomly select a call within the designated time frame. The call must have audio, and it must have screen captures to be considered as a qualifying call. And you can start expecting to receive those evaluations about a month from your start date. Now, I know Lauren and Stephanie, it's probably been over a month since you started. And that's for several reasons, but normally it's about a month after your start date that we normally do that. So next, the QA evaluator will complete, that's me, will complete the form and provide coaching tips for wins and opportunities. So be sure to just review all of the comments that are left to better understand your wins and your opportunities. I normally leave specific ways to continue in what you're doing or tweak what you're doing to better the patient experience. It's all about the patient experience. So the goal with every comment that I leave is to ensure that the patient feels connected to and confident in you and in UAB, and making sure they feel your commitment to help them. So you're going to hear me talking a lot about the 3 C's. And those 3 C's of the patient experience are connection, commitment, and confidence. Everything we do is sifted through the lens of those. So finally, after the call is completed, the team member will receive a notification based on their preferences. And we'll set up your preferences towards the end of the meeting together. And the team member can review the call and acknowledge. You will be able to review and acknowledge the evaluation. Your leadership requests that the evaluated calls are acknowledged within the week that they were received. Any questions about the evaluation process or what to expect with that? And I do want to let you know that when I'm out starting in May, and actually already, Janice has, you'll see Janice Cloudis's name on as the evaluator for your calls. And she will actually be handling that while I'm out. So she'll actually be doing your evaluations, and she's actually started already doing them. So she's got a really good head start. And we did that on purpose so that she could really get used to it. First of all, Janice and I, and there was another one of us that were the first 3 people that were doing quality at all for the Access Center. So she was actually hired before me. So she's actually been doing evaluations long before I have. Now, this is her first time doing PHCC, but she's been doing an excellent job. And I've been looking at the evaluations that she's done, and they're spot on. So I have full confidence in Janice while I'm out. And all right, so we will move on to appeal my score. If you have a question about your score, the first step is to ask your supervisor or manager. And I do want to tell you, normally the calls that I've been working on are the old. So we just recently changed the evaluation form and the calibration guide for PHCC and PES. So I'm still catching up with January's calls with the old form, and Janice has since February, first week of February, has been using the new form. So some, you might have heard maybe chatter amongst the nurses about some of them receiving some for January and some for February, and they're on 2 different forms. January was the old form, February is the new form. Janice has been doing them since February, and I'm still doing them for January. So you might see me on some of them. If you're sitting with them and learning from them, you might see, and they pull that up, you might see my name on January's and then Janice's on February's. And that's normal. That's what we're doing right now. So if you have a question about the score, and also the scores are different on the forms. So the old form was 199 was the highest score that you could have. Now, if you earned extra mile credit, which was an extra 25 points, it would be 224 would be the highest absolute top of the score if you earned extra mile credit. Now, the new form is 100%. So if you receive extra mile credit, that would be 125. So it actually is just evened out, equal 100. 100's the top score. So if you got 100, then you aced it, 100% A plus. So that's what you can expect on your new forms. And y'all will be receiving the new forms from Janice because y'all are just coming in now. So you'll start receiving those with the 100 as the top score. And then if you have a question about it, the first step is to ask your supervisor or manager. So that would be Jerry or Beverly. I know Beverly's out right now, or Kayla, excuse me, to review the call. And if they agree the call was scored incorrectly, they'll reach out to me. I happen to be the supervisor of the quality assurance team to appeal the call. And then the call will be calibrated by the QA team. And I have there are several that I am with that are with me on my team. So there's 3 right now, 4 with Janice, and then my supervisor and my manager. The results of your appeal will be communicated to you and your leadership team. So let's go ahead and take a peek at what an evaluation looks like and sounds like in action. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with y'all. And let me just double check here. Lauren, do you happen to know what your start date was?
Mine was December 18th.
December 18th, okay. And then it's Stephanie, what was your start date?
February the 12th.
February 12th, okay. And Paige, I know you just started, right?
February 12th.
February 12th. Okay. I knew y'all had, I knew two y'all had the same dates that you started. Okay. Perfect. So Stephanie and Paige, y'all will actually start being evaluated probably the week of the 18th, March 18th.
Okay.
And then Lauren, we will probably, if you haven't already received them, we'll actually start evaluating them immediately because it's been over a month since you started. And I'm just making some notes here for Janice, so she'll have them. So she'll know when to start, and I'll send these dates out to your leadership too and let them know that that y'all will be receiving these on March 18th, and then Lauren, you should be start receiving these now. Probably whenever we have calls for you, you might have already been receiving them, but you probably don't have your settings set yet, so you might not have been receiving them. So I'll go and see if there's any for you, and then if there is, I'll send them to you when we're done with our meeting, so you can take a look at them. And then to log into Calabrio for the first time, we're going to go ahead and do that together just to make sure that we can all do that. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. Okay. All right. Can everybody see this? It should have Calabrio up here. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and log into Calabrio together. Let's see. Does everybody have access to Calabrio? If not, let me know and I can post the link in the chat.
I had the link. I've previously not been able to log in.
Okay. All right.
I'm in.
You're in. Okay. Paige, what about you?
Paige said yes.
Yes, she's in. She's in. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is, Lauren, if you've got Calabrio pulled up here, you're just going to put your entire email address into the username. And then what we're going to do is click forgot password. And it's going to ask you for your email address again. And then just click email password reset. And what that will do is you'll receive an email probably within a minute or so to reset your password. You did? Okay. Perfect. And you should be able to reset your password, and then you should be able to log in with no problem. And just let me know when you're there and we'll go ahead. I would encourage y'all to write this password down if you haven't already, because I know y'all get a zillion passwords. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up a call we can take a look at together. Let's see. Okay. And I'm going to wait here because I want to show y'all something, how we pick the call. Just let me know when everybody's up here.
Okay, I'm in.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So the question may arise, you may be wondering, how do you pick the call that you evaluate? So it's a really simple process, to be completely honest, and very random. We look at the call duration right here, and you can see that some of them 2 minutes and 52 seconds, 4 minutes and 11 seconds, 5 minutes and 33 seconds, so on and so forth down the line here. With endocrine, it depends on the different specialty because I know ambulatory telehealth normally has outbound calls mostly. Dermatology normally has inbound calls. EMED RPM normally has outbound calls. Endocrine normally has incoming calls. Endoscopy has outbound calls. Geriatrics has inbound calls. So it just depends on the specialty and then also the call duration. So I know a call for ambulatory telehealth, probably, I'm going to pick one that's probably between 5 and 10 minutes because that's how long it, on average, it normally takes them to do a call. For dermatology, probably about 3 or 4 minutes. EMED RPM, 3 or 4 minutes. Endocrine, 3 or 4 minutes. Could be 2 minutes too, between 2 and 4 minutes. Endoscopy is going to be about 10 to 20 minutes. Because they really, it takes a lot of time to do an endoscopy call because they've got to go over all the instructions and the prep and really make sure that all of their chart is up to date. And the same with preloading. With preloading calls, their calls are normally between 10 and 15 minutes long, 10 to 20 minutes long. So I know that those are going to be longer calls. So it really just depends on the specialty that I'm looking at and then whether they normally have inbound or outbound. So I know endocrine normally has inbound calls, and really a good call for them would probably be anywhere between 2 minutes and 4 minutes or even 5 minutes. So what I would do is so I'm looking for a call between this specific date, between January 8th and January the 12th, and I definitely want it to be unscored. And so let's see, I would look at probably like a 3-minute call at least. So this one, 975, I think that might be like a UAB number. I try to stay away from an 801 or like 934 numbers. So I try to do like 205 numbers or 256 local numbers. So this one's a 3-minute, 20-second call, and it's a 205 number. That's an inbound call. So I'd probably look at this one. So it really just has to line up between if it's inbound or outbound, the time frame, and then what kind of number is calling, as to if I pick it or not. That's really all there is to it. So it is super random. Let's see here. So this one looks pretty good. And this transcription, I have access to this transcription, but when y'all receive your evaluations, y'all will not have the transcription. You'll just have the audio piece of it. And we've looked into why that is. It's a cost thing. So unfortunately, we can't add that at this time. But you will be able to hear the call and you'll be able to see the comments as well. And you'll be able to view the video of the call. And the video will be right here. So I'm just going to start this so you can see what I'm looking at when I evaluate a call. So you can see this screen and this screen. I can see both screens at the same time. And it'll start here in just a second, the audio. I think it was just a couple minutes. Yeah, I was just a little bit into it.
Thank you for calling UAB Medicine Endocrinology. This is Sandra. Out of courtesy and respect for the patient's privacy, may I have the patient's name and date of birth?
So
Micah Davis,
so you
birthday
can see
12/4/1994.
you can see that I can see both screens, and how she goes back and forth between the screens, and I can swivel between the screens to make one screen bigger. And if I pull my cursor out of the box, then that other one goes away and it comes back in when I pull the mouse over. So you can see what I see. Basically, it's everything on your screens I can see. Before the call, or, not really before the call, but maybe like a second or two. Normally there's not a huge gap here between when it starts recording and when she actually starts talking. There's normally, I don't know if maybe the call came in and she just didn't say anything until about 47 seconds in. Normally it's pretty quick where the audio is like right here, just a few seconds in. So you'll be able to see. Yeah, okay. So what will happen is normally this evaluation, we'll choose the evaluation. So the evaluation, there's a ton of different evaluations we have on here because we also evaluate for scheduling, for the scheduling part of the Access Center. We evaluate for the clinical part, which is y'all's part. We evaluate for O'Neill Comprehensive Cancer Center, and we evaluate for pre-reg, which is the support services. So we've got a lot of different evaluations listed here. Normally, it automatically gives us the correct evaluation, but this is actually the old evaluation, the one that I'm using right now for January. So Janice is actually using the updated form, which is the 2024 clinical team evals evaluation. So you'll actually get these updated forms when you get them. And we're actually going to take a look at the new form because you're not going to have an old form. So we're going to actually take a look at a new form. So we'll go ahead, and this is an inbound call. That's for PES. This is PHCC, which is y'all inbound call. Okay, so this is the right form, 2024 clinical team evals PHCC inbound call. All right, so the first things first, proper greeting. Excuse me, did the agent greet the caller with a welcoming tone and UAB branding? So what is actually required for the call flow? So the call flow, you can see here in this bubble, it says, example, hello, my name is Kayla with UAB Medicine. How can I help you today? So that's a perfect example of a perfect call flow. You've got the greeting and you say it with a welcoming tone, and you say your name and you say UAB Medicine. Now, if there's two things here where you may not receive credit for, if you don't state your name in the greeting, or if you don't state medicine, specifically the word medicine. You could say UAB, but if you don't say medicine, I have to count off. I think it's we're differentiating between the university and the medicine part of UAB, so it's important that we state the UAB piece, the UAB medicine piece. You could even say, my name is Kayla with UAB Dermatology Medicine. That's totally fine. I would accept that. And Janice knows to accept that as well. As long as you state UAB Medicine, UAB Dermatology Medicine, something like that. As long as you state that word medicine in that greeting, and you state your name and you have a welcoming tone, which I don't think y'all will have a problem with at all, then you've got it. You've got the greeting for that one. And let me pause here. Does anyone have a question about the proper greeting, or what we're looking for the proper greeting? Everybody's good? Okay. All right, so connection piece. And again, I said you're going to hear me say the 3 C's a lot, which is connection, commitment, confidence. And all of this is through the lens of those 3 things. So connection, did the agent use the caller's name? So we're listening for, did you state the caller's name? Normally after the patient gives their need, states their need, like I was calling to get a refill. You can see here, I was calling to get a refill, she said. So this would be a good time to state, let's see, she said, this is Colleen at Walmart. So you can say something like, all right, Colleen, I'd be happy to help you with that. And then use the caller's name, and then there you got it. The reason we use the caller's name is to create that connection. So a way to create a connection is to state a caller's name, even if the patient is not the caller, or the caller's not the patient. What you're going to do is you're going to ask who you're speaking with, and then you're going to restate their name, not the patient's name. You'd state whoever the caller is, you'd restate their name, because you want to create a connection with them on the phone. So you create a connection, and then you maintain the connection by continuing to restate their name several times throughout the call. Now, we're just looking for once. Did the agent use the caller's name? We're just looking for one time right here, as giving you credit for this connection piece. Any questions about that one? No? Okay. Verification. So did the agent verify the full name and date of birth? So if the caller is not the patient, then this would be clicked on, and it would not count for, and it would not count against you. It wouldn't be for or against you if the caller was not the patient, because it would be not applicable, basically. The caller was not the patient is another way for us to state not applicable. So if the caller was the patient, Then we're looking for, did you verify the full name and date of birth of the patient? And when I say full name, I mean first and last name. I know recently there were some nurses that were questioning, do I really need to get the patient's last name when it's obvious that the caller is the spouse? Yes, you must get the last name, even if it's obvious that the caller is the spouse. Should I, even if they say this is Miss Hawkins and they don't give their first name, do I still need to get their first name? Yes, you still need to get their first name. And check the advance directive to make sure that we can speak to whoever it is that we're talking to, the spouse, if they're calling for the patient. So that leads us into 1.4. If the caller is not the patient, did the agent obtain the full name of the caller? So we not only do we need to get the full name and date of birth of the patient if the caller is not the patient, but we also need to get the full name, first and last name of the caller, and check the advance directive to make sure that the patient is listed there. Now, are y'all familiar with the advance directive and where that's located in the chart? Yeah, okay. And so we've got to get the callers, again, we've got to get the callers first and last name and make sure they're listed as someone that we can speak with. Now, I want to show you something really quick. In the advance directive, sometimes there are multiple dates that are listed, like whenever the patient came in for an appointment. They might have, let's see here. Let me bring this up. Let me just bring up a random patient. I can show you here. Let's see, it would be under power chart. Sometimes there's multiple dates that they've been here. Like maybe they've been here a couple of times in the last 6 months or so. And they completed the advance directive piece. And maybe they changed their minds and they had someone listed that they wanted to be able for us to speak to on their behalf, but they changed their mind and now they don't want that person there and they didn't add that person the last time they were here. If that person's been listed several times in the past and then the last time they were here, they didn't add that person and we're speaking to that person, we are not allowed to give any information out about the patient. It's got to be the last time that the patient was here and updated the advance directive that the caller is listed on that piece. Does that make sense? I feel like I said that kind of weirdly. Okay, let me pull up a patient just random. Let me just see what I can find here. Let me see if there's any patients by that name. Okay, let's do, here we go. Okay. All right, let me bring this over here. All right, so we're in advanced care planning. And then she's got nothing. That doesn't help us. Let's try a different patient. Let's see. I'm trying to think of a patient that I pulled up recently. Let's see if Mr. Smith's got anything listed here. Advanced care planning, nothing. Okay. Let's see. Let me look at this one here.
Micah Davis, birthday 12/4/1994.
Let's take a look at this
All
one.
right, thank you. Let's get that pulled up. Okay, and I'm one of the nurses. How can I help you? This is Colleen at Walmart. I was calling to get a refill.
All right, let's take a look. Maybe this one will have one. Okay, advanced care planning. Patient's 29, so he's an adult. Okay, so May 4th was the last time they updated advanced directive patient preferences. So his father, Mark Davis, is listed. So that's great. So anyone but Mark Davis, we cannot give, actually okay to share medical information, patient only. He only wants himself to have the information. So we may not even be able to share this information, to share any information with his dad, with his father, because it's okay to share medical information. He only wants himself. Now on these ones, it doesn't have, on these two, May 29th and January 29th, January 23rd, it doesn't have that same thing listed. So that was different, but we've got to go by the last time the patient updated. So if this had said, you know, okay to share next of kin information, then we could share it with Mark Davis. And so if Mark wasn't listed here, if Mark was listed here, and here, but not here, we definitely wouldn't be able to share any information. Does that make sense now that you can see it a little bit better, what I'm talking about? Okay, yeah, it's just got to be the last time. Because sometimes that does happen where a patient has information like that on their advanced care planning page, and we give out information, but we shouldn't be giving out that information because that's not the most updated. We went by like the last 2 or the last 3 times they updated instead of the first time. So everybody's clear on this piece, right? Full name, date of birth of the patient, and then first and last name of the caller, and checking advance directive to make sure we can provide information to the patient. Now we can always say, I'd be happy to take whatever information you'd like to give us, but I cannot give any information out. So if they have information that they like to give us, that's totally fine. We continue talking to them. That's totally fine. We take that information and not jot that down, but we just can't give out any information. Okay. So moving on to 1.5, summarize and close. Did the agent ask for their needs? This would be like saying, is there anything else I can help you with? Or I do want to be helpful. Do you have any questions? You can see Sandra said here, is there anything else I can help you with? So she's got that summarize and close, asking about other needs. That's perfect. And then express thanks. Excuse me. 1.6 is express thanks. Thank you and have a great day. It used to be where you'd have to say, thank you for calling UAB at the end. Just a simple thank you, have a great day would suffice on this new form. So thank you for calling UAB, I think is what she said right here. And that's perfect. That's totally fine. You don't have to say UAB. If you say UAB, that's just an added cherry on top. So any questions about call flow, the first piece of the inbound call, which is call flow?
I have
Okay.
a question.
Sure, go ahead.
So you're doing call flow for incoming, and on
Mhm.
preload, we're making the calls.
Mhm.
These same things apply?
Yes, and I'll show you what the outbound call looks like.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see. Absolutely. Outbound calls. So let's see. Outbound call flow would be the same. Welcoming tone and UAB branding. That's the same as inbound. Did the agent use the call recipient's name? That's the same. Did the agent verify the full name and date of birth? That's the same. And if the call recipient was not the patient, we would mark that. If it was the patient, then it would be a yes or no right here. And if the call recipient is the patient, then this would be advanced directive, which would be NA. So basically choose NA would be advanced directive. So because it wouldn't be a yes, it wouldn't be a no. If clicking advanced directive here would not hurt you and it wouldn't help you. Just the same as this call recipient was not the patient. That's like another way of saying NA. It's the same as inbound. And then summarize and close, did the agent ask for their needs? That would be like, I do want to be helpful. Do you have any questions? Or even just, do you have any questions? At the end of the call, when you're closing up the preloading call, and then thank you and have a great day. So it's the same as inbound. The call flow is the same.
Okay,
But
okay,
the
thank
only
you.
thing different, yeah, no problem. The only thing different is that you're calling and saying, hello, my name is Kayla with UAB Medicine. May I please speak with da 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 da. Definitely avoid stating endoscopy. Definitely avoid stating, hello, my name is Kayla with UAB Medicine Endoscopy until you know who you're talking to. Meaning they've stated their full name and their date of birth if they're the patient. So after they stated their full name and their date of birth, you can reiterate it and say, again, my name is Kayla with UAB Medicine Endocrinology. That's when you can say the endocrinology part. Leadership would just prefer that you not state the department that you're calling with to whoever's on the other line until you know for sure who you're talking to. And so let's see here. And when you're doing inbound though, that's totally different. If you're doing an inbound call, you can say UAB Medicine Dermatology, that's totally fine. But because we're calling outbound and we don't know who we're talking to, we just don't want to, give out any information without knowing first who we're speaking to. So that's really the only difference, is really that first little piece. And then everything else is the same for outbound and inbound as well. And we'll get to these other pieces too. So just that greeting piece is a little bit different. So navigating the experience and 2.1 professionalism. Did the agent increase confidence by utilizing professionalism? So this is really where we get into, did you avoid using medical jargon, refrain from speaking over the caller, just to make sure that we're professional and respectful throughout the call, using proper grammar. Those are all ways of increasing confidence by utilizing professionalism. And those are just things that we listen for throughout the call. And then 2.2 commitment, did the agent demonstrate commitment by taking ownership and showing that we care? So that would be like follow through. If you say you're going to send a message, did you send a message? If you say you're going to do whatever, XYZ, did you do XYZ? Helpfulness, providing solutions, using a positive tone. And tone is really comprised of 3 different things. Tone is comprised of volume. Sometimes you can have too low of a volume, and you can be talking down here and the patient can't hear you. And so you want to like make sure that your volume's a little bit high, especially if they say I'm hard of hearing, then you want to make sure that you increase your volume. Now, I know when I increase my volume, my tone can sound a little sharp. My pitch can sound a little sharp. My pitch changes a little bit. So try to soften your voice while also raising your volume. I know that can be tough. But you just try your best, and we can hear the difference. We can hear it. And then also, so tone is made up of pitch, volume, and pace. So pace is like how fast you're talking. So you want to make sure that you're not talking too fast, because if you're talking too fast, then that makes the patient feel like you're rushing them off the phone. You also don't want to talk too slow, because you don't want them to feel like you're talking down to them in any way. And then also your pitch, which your pitch is if you were talking monotone like this, your pitch wouldn't change at all. It would just be straight across the board the same. So it's hard for me to even talk monotone because I'm so used to varying my pitch throughout the conversations that I have. But making sure that you're, keeping your pitch varied throughout the call. And then also you don't want your pitch to be too sharp. And like I was talking about that earlier, like when I raise my voice, my pitch can get a little sharp. So I need to kind of soften my tone a little bit, my pitch a little bit when I start talking louder. Because it can come off as aggressive with your volume and your pitch. When your volume's loud and your pitch is sharp, it can come off as aggressive. So we just have to be careful about those 3 things: pitch, pace, and pitch, pace, and what was the third thing? Volume. And also using personal ownership phrases such as I'm committed to helping you, or I'd be happy to help you. Or, something similar to that. However you'd like to phrase it, that's totally up to you. But any kind of phrasing like that, ownership phrases is really good. And then 2.3 connection, did the agent create a connection and show value? So this is where we would look at, again, tone, empathy. Really, y'all are just spectacular with empathy. I mean, that's pretty much probably why you're a nurse, is because you're just generally overall empathetic. I mean, you just have to have that when you're a nurse. So really that's really hardly ever a problem. Remaining courteous, recognizing emotional needs. So recognizing emotional needs would be like if the patient said, my father just died yesterday. Instead of continuing with the call and saying, okay, what's your first and last name? You definitely want to take a second and acknowledge that and respond appropriately to that. So that would sound like, Miss Hawkins, I'm so sorry to hear that. My condolences go out to you and your family. That would be appropriate for that. So that's kind of a that's kind of an outlier situation that doesn't happen a whole lot, but it does happen. I've heard it happen. Other emotional needs would be like, man, I'm really frustrated that I can't get my refill until la-di-da-di-da. Like, okay, so they're frustrated. So we want to acknowledge that, and we want to, make sure that we speak to that and problem solve. And then also make them feel confident in when they should have their prescription. Like when we are sending the prescription in, 24 to 48 hours is the proper response time for a refill. So saying, Mr. Hawkins, you can expect your prescription to be sent to your pharmacy within 24 to 48 hours. And if you'd like to check with your pharmacy in the next, tonight to see if they've received it, that would be, they may have it ready for you. We can't tell them when the pharmacy will fill it or when the pharmacy will have it ready, but we can tell them when we expect to send it, which is 24 to 48 hour response time. And that's normally across the board, but there are other response times, like for test results normally are, I think, 5 to 10 business days. And then PAs take up to 2 weeks, 2 business weeks, and letters and let me just look here. I don't want to say anything wrong. Let's see here. I'm just getting to that right here. I've got this information pulled up. Paperwork letters is 7 to 10 business days. Sending a high priority or red flag message within the hour or the day, they should hear back. So a red flag message or word would be like if they needed to go to the emergency room, if they're not breathing, if they passed out, if they fell and hit their head and they're bleeding, like their bleeding won't stop. Those are high priority red flag messages that will be responded to within the hour of the day. And that's when we would check that little red flag on the message. And that's how the clinic would know, okay, this message needs to be opened and attended to right away. The expected response time regarding scheduling, that was for post-COVID clinic. That's not valid anymore. Prior authorizations require 3 to 10 business days to complete. So 3 to 10 business days for PAs. But generally the patient should hear back. The general response time is 24 to 48 hours to hear back. And it's always good to provide that information to make the patient feel confident and when they should expect us back and when they should expect to hear back from us or have their need met. So let's see here. Another piece of connection is using connection skills, such as using the name throughout the call. That's another way. We already talked about that, connecting and maintaining a connection with the caller throughout the call. We just talked about red flag words. So let me go back up here. Do y'all have any questions about navigating the experience? Okay, all right. Protocols and process. So 3.1, we just talked about red flag words. So when you send a message, let me see if I can pull this back up. So when you send a message, and you would mark it high priority, this is the high, well, I guess it's not a flag anymore, it's an exclamation point. So if you had a patient that, like I said, one of those circumstances, or for whatever department y'all schedule for, whatever specialty y'all schedule for, there's specific red flag words for each. Like for urology, there's like a blood in your urine, like hematuria. And that could be a red flag word. So this would be marked as high priority. So any messages marked as high priority, that's going to be within the half an hour or the day, you should receive a reply back situation. Does that make sense? Everybody know what to check for a high priority? Yeah, okay. All right. And then let's see here. So appropriate resources, did the agent provide solutions or resources? So right here, we're looking for, did we provide, like, let's see, I'm trying to think of an example. The patient says they need to get to a separate department after they've already spoken with you and you've addressed their need. And they say, I also need to talk to cardiology. Okay, then we provide them with the phone number to cardiology and we ask them, would you like for me to connect you with cardiology? And if so, then we do a warm transfer. And a warm transfer, actually, I want to talk to y'all about that. So warm transfers, actually, if someone were to say, or if we need to connect someone elsewhere to a different department, well, there's 3 different pieces to that. So what you're going to do is, the first thing is you're going to ask permission to place them on hold before you connect them. So, well, really the first thing would probably be asking them, would you like the phone number to XYZ department before I connect you? So you're asking them if they would like the phone number, if they don't already have the phone number. Sometimes they're driving or they don't have a piece of paper, they don't have a pen or something to write it down, and that's totally fine. If that's the case, then you know, at least you asked and attempted, and that we count attempts. So that would be counted towards you because you attempted. And then if they already have the phone number, or after you give them the phone number, if they can't take the phone number, then you're asking them, would you mind if I place you on a brief hold while I get you connected? We really like for them to ask permission to place them on hold instead of saying, hold please, or I'm going to place you on hold. You're making a statement there. So we really like for you to ask permission before, and wait for them to respond to you before connecting them over. And then also the third thing is, so the first thing is phone number. Second thing is asking permission to place them on hold, and then, or while you connect them. And then the third thing is warm transferring, which means that you wait for at least 1 minute for someone to answer to whatever department you're transferring them, connecting them with. So you wait for at least 1 minute for someone to answer to the place that you're connecting them with. If nobody answers within that minute, then it's okay to go ahead and just connect the patient over. If someone answers within that minute, then what you're going to do is you're going to introduce the patient, introduce yourself, introduce the patient and the patient's need. What we're trying to cut down on is the frustration that patients have when they have to call multiple places and then give all their information and state their need like 5 times over in order to actually get the care that they're looking for. So rather than having to state all that information so many times, we're going to connect them, go ahead and give the representative or whoever we're speaking with on the other line that information, their name, their date of birth, whatever information they need, and then why we're needing to connect them, what their need, what the patient's need is, or what the caller's need is. And that really makes the patient feel our commitment to help. And I can see it's not in this call, but normally there is a pink block and it says H. And that means that you place them on hold. And I can see how long that hold is. And I can hear what's going on, like while the hold is going on, and I can still see your screens while the hold is going on. So I know how long you've held the call. So it does give me that information in Calabrio. So I can normally say, okay, you held for 3 seconds before you connected the patient, or you did hold for a minute. Actually, it was over a minute. And then you were able to warm transfer the patient, or maybe you held for a minute and then you connected the patient because it was over a minute. And that's totally fine. So we're looking for those 3 things. which is, again, I'm going to reiterate that phone number, attempting to give them the phone number. And sometimes you can't give out the phone numbers, and that's totally fine. If it's like a nurse's number that you're not allowed to give out, or a department's number that you're not allowed to give out, oftentimes that does happen. So what you're going to do is you're going to give them the number to get back to you if they get disconnected. So we're just trying to provide them a solution if they get disconnected to get back to you or to the place that they're trying to get to. And that's why we're offering the phone number. So if you can't give out that phone number for whatever reason, just go ahead and give them the number to get back to you, whatever that number is, and the option, whatever, to get back to you. They may not get you, but they will get another nurse, and who will be able to help them just as much as you did. Or if that nurse can connect them with you, that's awesome. If not, that's totally fine too. But one of the other nurses, if whoever they get, will help them. But at least they know how to get back to you or your department. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So let's see here. Did the 3.3 department protocol, did the agent follow the protocol? So really, this one we don't have a whole lot of taken off for. Mainly this is taken off if we didn't verify. If we gave out information to someone who was not on an advance directive, or we didn't verify who we were speaking with first and we gave them information, then that would be like, did the agent follow the protocol? That would be a no, because we're not allowed, we cannot give out information to someone that we don't know who we're talking to. Or if they're not on the advance directive, we cannot give out information. So that would be an example of, did we follow the protocol? And that's really normally all that we normally ever take off for this one. So again, just making sure it's really, really important. Even if the patient says, this is Miss Hawkins, the patient's wife. Okay, I still need your first, I still need your first name. So yeah, that would be 3.3. Any questions about protocols and process? Or anything that we're looking for there? Okay. All right. So the extra mile is a special designation, and I'll give you a great example of this. It's awarded when the agent goes above and beyond the normal call of duty, and it is uncommon and it is worth celebrating. So because of that, it is worth 25 points, extra points. If we put new answer, then that just means basically NA. If it's not yes, if it's not no, then it's NA, and that just means new answer here. And so it doesn't count for you, it doesn't count against you. Anything NA does not count for you, it does not count against you. So really what we're looking for with extra mile is, I'll give you an example. We actually had two recently. Actually, I think one of them was in endocrinology, or in endocrine, I think, that did this. Yeah. So I think it was, I can't remember who exactly it was, but so what happened was there was a patient who was very upset because he could not get his Dexcom sensors. And so he actually, he went on and on about not being able, oh, thank you, Stephanie. I just got your message about using a test patient. I'm sorry. So what happened was one of the nurses was like, I can call your pharmacy for you. And so, he was very distraught. She got off the phone with him. She actually called the pharmacy, and it wasn't actually a pharmacy. It was like a DME company, I believe. And she called them and they said, well, he was complaining that we were going back and forth with the DME company about getting the Dexcom sensors. Well, she got on there and she was like, this is what's happening. And the DME company representative was like, well, we need X, Y, and Z to be able to do that. Well, we had sent X, Y, and Z. And the nurse still didn't understand, why is this still happening? And the representative was like, well, it's an insurance thing. The insurance requires us to do X, Y, and Z. Well, that's never happened for any of our other patients. No other patient has ever needed that before. So the nurse was like, really went to bat for the patient, basically. And she had to jump through the nurse had to jump through a lot of hoops to get to really get the DME company to say at the end, okay, all the patient would need to do is to call us back and request a new order for sensors. So then she contacted the patient afterwards. She got off with the DME company and gave the patient the update. And so that's really going the extra mile. She spent 19 minutes on the call with the DME company. Like, she did not have to do that. So yeah, I found it here. Cynthia was talking to a patient who had a problem getting his Dexcom sensors. He was very upset as he had been waiting for 2 weeks. And she assured him that she would contact his DME company and give him a call back. So immediately after hanging up with the patient, she contacted the DME company and spent 19 minutes explaining why the same endocrinologist that saw the patient in clinic could not sign the prescription for the patient. She said they're out of the country for weeks or a month at a time. So the same provider couldn't sign it because she was in a different country. Apparently there's a Medicare Advantage insurance rule that requires the clinic note and the prescription signed by the same provider. But Cynthia, the nurse, explained that we have numerous patients who have Medicare Advantage, and that's never come up before. So she really went to bat for the patient and didn't just sit down and like take what the DME company was telling her. So again, after jumping through those hoops, the DME company finally assured her that all the patient would need to do is to call them back and request a new order for sensors. And that's what she did. She contacted the patient and gave him the update, and I assume that's what he did. So she really went to bat for the patient. Again, she didn't have to contact the DME company. She didn't have to offer that to the patient, but she did. And so I definitely gave her that extra mile credit because she really went to bat for the patient, which was amazing. She did a great job. So that's how you can get an extra mile credit. She really went above and beyond the normal call of duty there. So that's a good example of that. Any questions about the extra mile credit, how you can receive that, anything like that? Nope. Okay. Awesome. So that is the call flow. Again, the same with outbound. It's the same, just that little greeting part is different. Again, just saying, hey, this is Kayla with UAB Medicine. May I please speak to Ms. Hawkins? And then after the patient states their full name and their date of birth, and you know who you're talking to, you can reiterate it and say, again, this is Kayla with UAB Medicine Endocrinology, or UAB Medicine preload or whatever. You don't even have to state the department within UAB Medicine if you don't want to. That's totally fine. You don't have to. So just that greeting is a little bit different. Everything else is the same. Extra mile credit still the same. Protocols and process still the same. And navigating the experience the same. Okay, and then let me take a look at this. Email here. So I assume all of our defaults are set to Google Chrome. We just can't open Calabrio if you don't have your Google Chrome set. So if for some reason you can't open your Calabrio, it could be your default web browser isn't set to Google Chrome. And I did include a document in here that shows you how to set your default web browser to reset it to Google Chrome. I know a lot of y'all, I think, use Edge. And that's totally fine. But when you're checking your calls, it will definitely be in Calabrio. It would definitely need to be Google Chrome. And this is the instructions on how to do that. And I included these in the email that I sent y'all. So you'll have access to that. You'll have that document available anytime you need to. You need to have it. And then let's see here. Everyone's got Calabrio installed on their computers. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our notifications now. And I'm going to open this document to show us how to do that. And we'll work this document together. And let's see here. So we're all still in Calabrio. And what we're going to do is we've all logged into Calabrio already. So we're going to click the application management. It's the one all the way to the right in the red ribbon. All the way to the right, you're going to click on application management. And then under the monitoring section, you're going to choose, it's going to say global. It'll be a gray ribbon. It says global, and then under that monitoring. And this is the monitoring section. Under that, choose notifications. And you're probably not going to have as many things that I have on mine, and that's totally fine. But you're going to click notifications. And then just let me know when everybody's there, and we'll keep moving.
I'm there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay. Lauren, you good? Cool. All right. Okay, so select edit. So what we're going to do, what do you want to do? The question, what do you want to do? Edit or delete an existing notification group. And we're going to make sure that that is blue bubbled in there. And then under select notification group, you're going to click on the red button and click default. And that will open up some more things for you. So you're going to scroll down. And you're going to see two different boxes under notification types. One says available, one says assigned. And you're going to find the one that says business. Let's see. Let me find that one exactly what it says. My scored evaluations in parentheses business. My scored evaluations. My scored evaluations in parentheses business. Here we go. My scored evaluation in parentheses business. You're going to click on it and that'll blue highlight it. And then you're going to click on the, you can either double click on it or you can click on the arrow that's pointing to the assigned box. Either one. Double clicking will do the same thing as clicking on the assigned box if you highlight it over in the available box. So you just want it in your assigned box. And then after you got it in your assigned box, you're going to click select all underneath that box. And then you're going to make sure that the first two boxes are checked under real-time notifications. So delivery method, real-time notifications, delivery method, that's going to be deliver notifications as alerts and deliver notifications as email.
Well, we have more than just the my scored evaluations in the box, because I have like
You
5
might.
things.
You might.
Okay, no, I just
And
want to
that's
make sure.
totally fine. Yeah, that's totally fine. You just click select all on those. And then under, let's see, under notifications, let's see here. Yep, you're going to do that and that. And then deliver notifications as email under summary. And that will open up this schedule for you when you click on deliver notifications as email. And then under summary, you're going to make sure this says 24 hours. 24 hours. And the start date is today. So 3/8/24. And then the start time is going to be anytime after 5 o'clock. So 5 p.m. or later. Anytime after 5 p.m. or later is good. And then you're going to click save. And you'll see this green box, notification group is successfully updated. And what this means is that when you start receiving your evaluations, when your evaluations are completed, you'll receive them as alerts in Calabrio, and this little bell, it'll have like a blue 1 like if it's one notification or like two, and it'll be blue. And you'll also receive them in your email. So, so that's what this notification setup is for. Everybody got that? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Awesome. Very good. And then Lauren, like I said, if you already have some done, I'll go back and check and I'll send them to you if you've already got some done. Okay. So you can see those. And then, let's see. Now we're going to move on to how to acknowledge them. Once you receive them, how do you acknowledge them? And like I'd said, your leadership would like for you to acknowledge it within a week when you receive it, after you receive it, or within the week that you receive it. So let's see here. We're going to cancel this out. So what you're going to do is you're going to receive an email that looks like this. It'll have evaluation for agent. It'll have your name scored. And then it will have a contact ID. It'll be a blue hyperlink. And it'll say recorded by your agent, your name has been scored. So you'll receive an email that looks like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to actually just click on that blue hyperlink with the contact ID, and that will actually open up Calabrio for you, and it will take you directly to that call. So what you're going to do when you open the Calabrio and you open that call, you're going to take a listen to the call. You'll just press the play button up here. You can kind of see it. I don't know if I can make it bigger. A little bit. There we go. Yep, you're going to just click this play button right here at the top, and it'll start going down here where you'll be able to see like every minute of the call. And well, you won't be able to see the transcript, but you'll be able to hear it. So the audio will come up, your screen capture will come up, and you can make your screen caption bigger by pressing this button right here, and it'll just make it bigger like it was on mine. And you can toggle in between the screens to see, you know, what you were doing at any given moment on whichever screen you were looking at. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come down here and you're going to, I can't do this on this because it's not a live thing, but you'll scroll down and you'll look at all the comments. You see there'll be a top comment here every time, and you'll read this top comment, and that'll be like an overall comment for the call. And then down throughout the call, if there's any no's, it's going to explain what happened, why we didn't give credit for that particular target. And so we'll always give you information about what happened, what we're looking for, if there's ever a no. Sometimes if there's like a yes and you've been really working hard on that, you might see us say something like, wow, really good job making sure, you know, you really stayed connected to the patient. And these are the ways you did that. So you'll receive information like that. And then after you reviewed the evaluation, looked at all the comments, and listened to the call, be sure to click on the three dots on the right. So these three dots are going to be right here. Let me show you this right here. So it's going to be these three dots. I don't know if I can make it bigger. These three dots right here. You can barely see it because this border is really thick. There's three dots right there, and it'll say acknowledge evaluation, and you'll click on acknowledge evaluation, and then it will be yellow. You'll see a yellow ribbon after you click acknowledge evaluation, and that's all you have to do. And this is the yellow ribbon that I'm talking about right here. Once you click acknowledge evaluation, you'll see that yellow ribbon pull up. Let me see if I can show you on this, the three dots. Yeah, so these three dots right here is what you'll click on. It'll say acknowledge evaluation, and you just click acknowledge evaluation, and then that yellow ribbon will pull up, and you'll know that it was acknowledged. And I'll see the yellow ribbon too when I pull the call up. And so I can see that you've acknowledged it. All right, so acknowledge my evaluations. Any questions about how to do that? No, they're pretty good. Okay. All righty. And then how to set your filters to find contact IDs. So let's look at that together. If we ever send you a contact ID, or if your management ever or your leadership ever sends you a contact ID, you might be like, what do I do with this? How do I find this call with this contact ID? So I'm going to show you how to find a call using a contact ID. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on your recordings, and Stephanie and Paige, y'all probably won't have any recordings that pull up, which is totally fine. But what you're going to do is click on recordings, and then you're going to go to filter set, and you're going to go to, I'm sorry, not filter set. You're going to go to, let's reset it here. You're going to go to add filter. And then you might see that some things are selected already. You can double click them and they'll go on the other side, just like you did with the available boxes that we did earlier. So what you're going to do is you're going to look for contact ID under available, and everything's alphabetized. So contact ID is right here. So you're going to click on, you double click on that. Oopsie. And that will add to, you'll actually only have to click once, I think, and it'll add it. And so it should be under selected box, contact ID, just by itself. You just want the contact ID in the selected box, no other ones, when you're filtering these out. And you're going to click update filters. And then you're going to go over here where contact ID is under your filters. And you'll enter in the contact number that they gave you. So the contact ID might be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like an 8 number. It might be 8 numbers that they give you, something around there. So you're going to put that number right into contact ID right here, just the numbers. So let me do 1, 2, 1, 4, 3, 4, 8, 0, and then apply, click apply. And then just that call will pull up for you. And then you double click on the call and it'll open right up for you. So it's pretty simple. It's just learning how to filter how to use your filters. And then if you want to go ahead and save this so you don't have to figure out how to add your filter again, just go up here to the save button. It looks like a floppy disk. And you just click save, and then you can save it, create filter set, and you can say contact ID. You can name it contact ID if you want to, and then click save. And then that way, when you come in here under recordings, you'll have one that already looks like this. So you can just easily click into filter set, contact IDs, and you've got it right there. And all you have to do is enter in the contact ID and click apply. Everybody got that part? Okay, cool. All right, so let's move on to the next thing here. And let's see, the calibration guide. Okay, and we actually already, we did a lot of going over the calibration guide, but let me just scroll through here really quick since we've got the time. And let's see here, my computer doesn't want, it's doing that spinning wheel of death thing. It's just taking a second. Let's see, here we go. All right, so let's see, PHCC call center clinical teams. This is what that looks like. This is your calibration guide. Now, the purpose of the calibration guide is to establish consistency, really, to evaluating a call. So that helps Janice and I stay consistent so that when I'm out, it would be the same thing. Like if I'm doing your evaluations and you put an evaluation that I did versus what she did side by side, it would be the same. So it really provides us consistency. And really it's not to promote robotic interactions, but it's really just to make sure that it defines the experience expectations. And we're totally aware that every call is unique. Totally aware of that. And sometimes that can be subject to interpretation, but still, the aim is to provide a comprehensive overview of the expectations. So again, the tool that we use is Calabrio, which we were just in, and we locate calls by contact IDs, which we just went over. And then again, this is just an overview of the evaluation process that we talked about at the beginning of the call, that we talked about at the beginning of this meeting. There's 3 steps to the evaluation process: selecting a call, completing the form, and then reviewing the call and acknowledging the evaluation. If you ever need password assistance, that's not a problem at all. There is a Calabrio help desk ticket that you'll need to fill out. So you will just click on this hyperlink. That'll open up a form for you. It will ask you for your first name, your last name, your department, your email address, and the problem that you're having. So you'll just fill out the form and that will go to the appropriate people and they'll be in contact with you probably same day or next day about your issue. And they'll be able to get that resolved for you pretty quickly. So if you ever have password assistance, ever need password assistance, go ahead and click on that form, fill it out, and they'll get back with you quickly. If you ever need to appeal the score, the first step is to contact your supervisor or your manager to review the call. If they agree the call was scored incorrectly, they'll reach out to me or my director, Amy, and the call will be calibrated by us, by our team, and then the results will be communicated to you and your leadership team. And so let's go into outbound call flow like we talked about before. The greeting for an outbound call begins with a welcoming tone and UAB branding. Like we said, hello, my name is Valerie with UAB Medicine. You don't have to state your department. If you want to state your department, just make sure you state it after the patients state their first and last name and date of birth to make sure that we know who we're speaking with. And if it's not the patient that you're speaking with, if it's someone for the patient, just make sure you've got their first and last name, the patient's first and last name, and the patient's date of birth before you state what department you're calling from. We just want to be careful about the information that we give out. And then the connection for an outbound call includes using the call recipient's name. Again, we talked about this. May I speak with Ms. Smith? Hello, Ms. Smith. Those are all good ways to create a connection. When you say, may I please speak, may I speak with Mrs. Smith? I don't count that as a way of connecting with the patient. It would be like more of a conversational way, which is hello, Mrs. Smith. That's more of a conversational way. If you are stating the patient's name, like, is this Linda that I'm speaking with? For example, is this Linda that I'm speaking with? I wouldn't count that because it's not a conversational way to connect with the patient. You're just making sure that you're speaking with the right patient is the purpose of stating that. So when you say, okay, Mrs. Smith, I can help you with that. That's a conversational way to say it. So that's what we're looking for, a conversational way to get their name in there somewhere, to create a connection. Just making sure that you're talking to the right patient is not creating a connection. That's just you making sure that you're talking with the right patient. So if the call recipient is someone other than the patient, be sure to follow the protocol for advance directive, which we've talked about a good bit already. And then verification. The verification for an outbound call includes, let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. Full name and date of birth. So I need to verify a few things with you. Please confirm your full name and date of birth. Great, thank you for that information. I'm calling about your upcoming appointment. It's awesome if you can say after they verified their first and last name or given you demographic information, it's awesome if you can say, thank you for that information. I appreciate that information or something like that to just make sure that you are really making sure that you're courteous, throughout the call. And then summarize and close. The summary and closing for an outbound call includes asking for their needs or questions and thanking the caller. So it would sound like, are there any further questions? Is there anything else I can do for you today? Thank you and have a great day. Very simple. Any questions about the calibration guide call flow piece, which is really what we already went over with the evaluation form, but it's just kind of reiterating everything. Okay. Navigating the experience professionalism. Again, we talked about professionalism. It's a way to increase confidence with the caller. And we do that through proper grammar, using proper grammar, avoiding the use of medical jargon. So, not stating medical terms because the patient won't know what that means and they'll get frustrated and feel like we're talking over them on purpose. Or feel like they might feel like we're trying to puff ourselves up or something like that. When we use jargon that is not normal jargon or not basic jargon, and refrain from speaking over the caller. So we want to make sure that we give the caller time to speak and express their needs, and then we talk and we talk to listen so that we can help them. And let's see, commitment. That would be demonstrating that we care and taking a personal ownership of the call recipient's needs. Again, follow through, helpfulness, providing solutions using a positive tone, and using personal ownership phrases such as I'm committed to helping. Again, this is what we talked about in the evaluation form too. And then connection, a good way to do that is restating the caller's name throughout the call, tone, empathy, courteousness, recognizing emotional needs and responding appropriately to those. Those are all ways of connection. Protocol and process, again, using red flag words. And that's how we measure that, and responding accordingly to those red flag words. Appropriate resources, just making sure that we provide any resources and solutions to address the patient's needs, and then department-specific protocols that we're following those as well. And then the inbound call flow, this greeting is a little bit different. Hello, my name is Valerie with UAB Medicine, department name, how can I help you? So it includes the department name for the inbound call flow. Connection, great, I'll be happy to help you with that. Immediately after the patient states their needs, something that I sometimes hear is immediately after that the patient states their need, we might say, like, we might immediately go into, okay, out of courtesy and respect for your privacy, may I have your full name and date of birth, instead of acknowledging the caller's need by saying, sure, I can help you with that. But first, out of courtesy and respect for your privacy, may I have your full name and date of birth? So, okay. If we just say, if the caller says, okay, the caller says, I need to refill my medicine. And the nurse says, out of courtesy and respect for your privacy, may I have your full name and date of birth? There was no offer to help in between her stating her need and us asking for the patient's name and date of birth. There was no offer to help there. So even if you say, okay, and then go into out of courtesy and respect for your privacy, may I have your first and last name and date of birth? Even if you say, okay, I will give you credit for that. What I'm really looking for is, no problem, I'd be happy to no problem, I can help you with that. Or not really no problem, because that insinuates a negative. It's a negative, really. So what I'm looking for is, great, I'll be happy to help you with that. Or I'd be happy to help you get that refill. Or something similar to that. However you want to word it is totally fine. But what I'm looking for there is a courteousness and a willing to help before going straight into asking for demographics. And again, if the caller is someone other than the patient, be sure to follow the protocol for advance directive. And then verification, great, let me get your full name and date of birth, and then use the caller's name. Mrs. Smith, I need to verify a few things with you. This is a conversational way to say her name. Is this the best contact number? Is this your correct email address? Really, we just need to verify the name and date of birth. That's all that's required for that. And then summarize and close. The summary and closing for an inbound call includes asking for their needs. Are there any other questions? Thank you and have a great day. And thanking the caller. So it's pretty simple. And then again, with inbound, it's the same with professionalism, commitment, and connection. It's the same there. Same with red flag words, appropriate resources, and department-specific protocols. Same there. And then the advanced directive here is broken down for you. You could say, confirm the caller is approved. So you can say, give me a moment to access the patient's chart and confirm they have given us permission to speak with you about their medical information. This would be, if you're not sure how to word that, this is a good way to word that, but feel free to word it however you'd like. This is just an example. And then the patient is listed, or the caller is listed as someone we have permission to speak to. So let's see, please confirm your full name. I do see your name listed on the patient's chart. After we take a look at the chart and make sure they're listed, I do see your name listed on the patient's chart. If they're not listed, please confirm your full name, and they're not listed. Unfortunately, your name is not on the approved list for the patient. And in accordance with HIPAA, I'm not able to give you any information because you're not on the list. If you have information to provide about the patient, I can make note of that information. We're happy to add your name to the list. You'll need to ask the patient to contact us and give us permission to speak with you if you contact us again. So if you're not sure how to word that, that's a good way to word that. Like, how do I tell the patient, how do I tell the caller that I can't give out any information? This is a good way to word that. Again, we can always take information. We just can't give out any information. So just make sure that you're communicating that well. Like, I'm happy to take any information that you have, and pass that on to the provider for you. Definitely don't want to state the provider's name. I'm happy to pass that on to the provider for you. According to HIPAA, I just can't take any information. I just can't provide any information to you, is what I'm trying to say. Any questions about the advanced directive piece? Okay. Extra mile, we talked about this already. I gave a great example of the extra mile. Again, it's a special designation that's awarded for those that go above and beyond the call of duty. Managing up, taking ownership of any situation, being proactive by anticipating needs. These are all ways to earn that. Emotional support during time of need, recognizing and responding to emotional needs of patients with kindness and empathy, making the patient feel comfortable and understood. These are all ways of going about the extra mile, getting the extra mile points. And that concludes the calibration guide. Any questions about that one at all, about the calibration guide at all, inbound or outbound?
No.
All right. So that covers it, guys. Let's see here. Do y'all have any questions or concerns about any? I know we talked a lot about each thing. We covered a lot of information. Do y'all have any questions about anything that we talked about? No? Okay. Awesome. Well, Lauren, I will take a look and see if we've got any calls for you evaluated yet, and I'll send them to you. So you can expect that from me. And then also, let's see here, let me just double check. And then Stephanie and Paige, y'all will have evaluation starting March 18th. So you can look forward to that. And you'll start receiving your emails on March 18th stating you have a new evaluation to acknowledge. And that's when you'll click on that hyperlink, open the call, listen to it, acknowledge it, and then you're good. All right. So I will get all this squared away, and I will also send out an email with everything that we talked about today in it. It's just a recap email. So if you have any questions or anything like that, it gives you more information about what to do for each individual circumstance. And then feel free to ask me any questions if there's anything that comes up that is not regarding an appeal. If it has to do with an appeal, you would need to go directly to your supervisor or manager for that. But if it doesn't have to do with an appeal, if it has to do with, maybe needing some direction on what to say for a particular circumstance, I can definitely help you with that. Your managers and supervisors can help you with that too. They're more than welcome to help you with that too. But if y'all need me for anything, just let me know. You've got my email and my phone number there. You do have to dial 9 before you get me. I know my phone number is weird, but you do have to dial 9 before my phone number. And I'll get this recap email sent to everybody. And then we actually are wrapping up a little bit early today, so that's great. But thank y'all for joining me today. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for letting me record this with y'all. I appreciate that too.
I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead, Stephanie.
I do have some calls recorded looks like about 15, because Wendy wanted me to go ahead and start using it and the way to dial and everything. So will those just go away, or will those be graded, or how?
Those will actually stay on your recordings. So any call that you make or take, they will be in your recordings. So you can actually click on recordings at any time in Calabrio and look at any of the calls that you've made or taken, and you can listen to any of those at any time that you want to. So, if for some reason you feel like maybe you missed something when you were in a call with someone, you're like, did I say that? Or did I write down the right phone number? Did I put in the right phone number or something like that? You can go back to a call and listen to it at any time.
Okay.
So you only have access to your calls though. You don't have access to everybody else's calls, just your calls. So yeah, you can actually do that anytime you want. But
I
they
was
will
just wondering if those would be graded above, before, since they're
No.
already there. Okay.
not
I mean, I don't mind. I was just
Yeah.
training. So,
Yeah, we generally give you some time so you can train and learn before we start evaluating them. It's normally about a month. Now, I know Lauren and there's some PES team members that have actually had way more than a month.
Yeah.
And that's just for several reasons, but yeah, those will not be evaluated until nothing will be evaluated for you until March 18th. And
Okay.
I'll let you know that we'll start with you and Paige on March 18th.
Okay. Thank you.
So yeah, they'll just be sitting there. If you want to listen to them again at any point, you can.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Anybody else got any more questions? I'm happy to answer them. Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead and include all these notes in the recap. And if you need me, just let me know. Thank y'all for joining me today. I appreciate it. And y'all be safe on your way home.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.